Hi, everybody, and welcome to our last Topical Tuesday session of fiscal year 21. I am so glad you could be here today. With us are Mesa and Scott from Mackin, and we'll get into that in just a second. If your microphone isn't muted, please go ahead and mute your microphone now. If you haven't signed in, go to bit.ly/Topical Tuesday. Capital F, capital Y 21. It is case sensitive. And please use the question and answer feature to keep track of questions. That will really help me keep on top of all of your questions. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to turn it over to Mesa and Scott. Welcome.
Thanks, Lisa. We're excited to be here today. I know most of you. We've definitely spent a lot of time in Palm Beach, and so what I'm excited to do is introduce Scott, which I think most of you probably already know anyway. But we're excited to have Scott on the Mackin team now, and today we're just going to go through quite a few things. So we're going to try and smash a bunch into a half an hour. So before I get started, Scott, I don't know if there's anything you want to say.
Just that it's great to be here representing Mackin. It's great to see so many familiar faces and some new faces as well, but I'm anxious to get started and work with you again.
Okay, I'm just trying to share my screen. So 1 second. Today what we're going to do is we are going to talk about groups and also the tag audit. So let's see, can everyone see my MackinVia screen?
You are good to go.
Cool. Okay, so some of you are probably familiar with groups, but Lisa had asked if we do maybe a little refresher on how to curate content within your MackinVia accounts. And so this will be about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to pass it over to Scott to talk about our new tag audit, diversity audit, SEL audit. And so that's really exciting tool, and it's all free on Mackin.com. So let's just talk about groups. So again, this is just a demo account, but for those of you that haven't tried to create groups yet, basically what it is it is a place for you to create whatever type of group you want. So these are just examples of things that I've created in my demo account. And if I click into one here, you'll see I can actually tag this group if I need to. And this helps kids find things quickly. A lot of times we see that people will tag like the teacher name for the group. And then when the students get here, they can just click on the teacher name or, you know, whatever works best for the school. And there's more tags right here. And then it will get to those groups that have been tagged by that teacher or topic area. So when I go into a group, this is what the student will see. You're going to see lots of different resources. So I've added the NASA website into this group. I've added a YouTube video, and then I've added a handful of books that should be used within the group. And then lastly, I've added instructions for the students. So really put in everything that they're supposed to be doing with these resources. And this gives the ability for them to just come to MackinVia, have all their homework, their assignments right here in MackinVia. Another example is a lot of people use groups for summer reading programs. So if you have a summer reading program that's coming up, you could curate the content into a group. You can send a link to the students or teachers saying, here's the group with all of the books that we are suggesting that the students read over the summer. You can also add in websites in here as well. So just some examples of what you could do. You can see I have just a bunch of different things in my groups, depending on, you know, what we're teaching on. Another thing I also have done is added all of the help guides that we've created into a group. So instead of maybe having to figure out where to go to get these help guides, and give to my students, I just put them in a group in MackinVia. So in case, let's just say I wanted to watch this on sharing to Google Classroom, I could quickly come in here into MackinVia and I could access the help guides. Okay, so that is the student side of groups. And I'm just going to jump over to the administrator side. So for those of you that are not familiar with your admin, there's a couple ways to get here, but you're going to be using to log in. You can either log into your Mackin.com account with your school email, and then the password is whatever you set up. So it's outside of the normal single sign-on system. So it's whatever you set up. And then under my account, there's a MackinVia tab here, and then that will bring you over to the admin side. Under Classroom is Groups, and it's super simple. Anything that you do on this admin side, just make sure you look up here, because this is where you create on the top left. It's really similar on every page. So if I create a group, I can name it. I can write a description. I can choose if I should be the manager or if we should have many managers on this group to add to the group. And then I'm just going to show you one I've already created. One thing to remember, once you've created a group, you can make it inactive, but you cannot delete a group. We have that so that you can track usage, even if a group is deleted. Now, so that you can see like what the students were using. But what I suggest for some people who get frustrated with, they want to clean up their groups, just rename the group. So when I go into edit, this is what the create a group screen looks like. I could just come in here and just switch the name out. And then I can switch out the resources. I can also add the descriptive tags. So this is the tag. So I could add, my name, so Mesa's class, into a tag and save it. And now this is going to be a tag on my groups page. I can add the group instruction right here. And then I can also upload an image. So if you wanted to upload an image, you could go in here and upload one from that you saved on your computer. There it is, saved on your computer, or there is an image library. Now this is a free service that we use. So just, it's more for adults. So just be careful what you're selecting. And obviously we leave it up to you guys to know what's appropriate for the image. And then you could just go into that image library, or you can upload one from your computer. So these are all the group information. One other thing up here, make sure it says active. All you have to do is click it. And if it says inactive, it's not going to show on the student interface. So just make sure it says active here. And then one of the biggest things you need to do is add the resources to the group. And so on the Manage Resource tab, it's going to bring up your collection. It's going to show you have 17 active because I already have 17 in here. If you wanted to just view the active titles, you could switch this. If you wanted to just view titles that are not in that group, you could go to inactive, or you can see all. And all you have to do when you're searching is do a quick keyword search, or down the side here, if you have something specific, like reading levels that you want to go by, or maybe grade levels you want to go by, you can filter your search that way. But let's say I found a book that I wanted to add to this group. All I have to do is hit add. And if you decide you want to take it out later, you just hit the remove button. There's no save on this screen, so once you've added it, it will just add right to the group. One thing to remember, when you're creating a group, you edit your group and you put in the instructions. If you don't add any resources into your group, so if it says 0 right here, it will not show up on the student interface. So just keep that in mind, because we don't want to show a group with nothing in it. So once you add one resource, then it will, even if it says active, then it will show on the student interface. One other thing I wanted to mention is, as you remember, in my group, I did things like added websites or added the YouTube videos. I just want to show you quickly where that is in case you want to add other resources outside of the books that you have in your MackinVia. Under resources, there's an add new resource. And then you can add most likely you'll just add manually. But if you do have a resource from the EduApp Center, you can add it through an LTI. But I would just go in and add manually, and then you pick what type of resource you're adding. So if you say links, I'm just going to do, I always do CNN because it's so easy to type in. So I'll do CNN.com. Make sure you have the HTTP. Obviously, you could just copy paste the URL if that's better for you. Then there's this little fetch data that comes up for websites. And this actually auto-fills information in. If that website has good metadata, we can grab that information and autofill. There are 3 required fields. So the URL resource, or the URL, the title and author, and those just have to be added. And then once I hit save changes, I'm going to get a lot of other places where I can index information. It's kind of like a mini cataloging system where you can add all of this other resources so that if you want your students to search and find things, they'll be able to add that. You'll be able to add that information right here. And then again, just make sure it says active. And this is where you can also add to a group. So if I wanted to just add to a group that I already had, I can pick the group that I've created and just add this resource to the group. And then one other thing I want to show you is that when you're adding a video, we embed YouTube and Vimeo videos. So if I switch this to a video resource, it's going to ask, do you want it embedded? And you can decide yes or no. And basically what that means is that the video will play in MackinVia versus going out to that YouTube site. Again, it's just Vimeo and YouTube that can be embedded. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I can't see you guys, so I'm going to jump back to this screen. I know that's a lot of information. Is there questions, or Lisa, did you want me to touch on anything else with MackinVia?
There was just one question that came up in the chat, which is what happens if a book in a group is checked out and a student can't access it?
Sure. So what will happen if a group, let's just go back here and let's see. If a book is checked out, what it will look like, let me see if I can find a book that's checked out here. So this is what it looks like. It has that little red circle with an arrow through it. As of right now, I can just hit request and it will go into my requests, and I'll be able to see when I requested it. If that book, if there's only one copy of that book, there's not really anything you can do except for wait until the book is checked back in. Now, if you wanted to take a look on your admin side to see what was like, who has the book checked out, you can go into your circulation in your dashboard and you can see, okay, Laura has this book checked out. The return date is on the 24th at 9:05 a.m. So you can actually go in as an admin and see when that book is going to be back into circulation. You can also cancel checkouts as long as it's not shared. So any of those shared titles that you guys have, you can't cancel because it crosses schools. And so if you own something on your own, then you can cancel it, but at your own school. But if you if it's shared, you can't. So as of right now, that's really all you can do if a book is not available, is just hit the request button.
Any other questions before we move on? All right, I think we're good. I think, Scott, you are up.
Right. Do you have my screen?
We do.
Perfect. Hello again, everybody. I can't tell you how excited I am to be back again. I just wish it was a normal school year and I could do this face-to-face, but hopefully we'll be able to do that this August. What I've been asked to present today is our curriculum tags. And basically, this was a program put together by Mackin's collection development team to help you tag resources in specific curricula areas, making it easier for you to find titles that'll support your school's curriculum. What I'm going to show you today, and I'll be kind of just giving an overview since we don't have a whole lot of time, but showing you how to do a search for titles using tags, how to analyze a list of titles prior to sending it in as an order by seeing the tags, and also how to evaluate your existing collection and show you the titles that have already received curriculum tags. So I'll just get started here up top. The first thing we want to do is go to title lists. Obviously, you have to be in Mackin.com to do this. I'm going to come down to tags. And you can see there are 8 different categories: general, diversity, world religions, world literature, makerspace, social and emotional learning, writing styles and formats, and literary themes. And you can see under each of them, there are several subcategories. If you click on more tags, you'll be able to see all the particular subcategories for a particular subject. And you can see down here at SEL, for self-awareness, in parentheses, you see 1788. That means there's 1,788 titles that we've tagged with self-awareness. So what I'm going to do is just kind of take you through a quick search. Just as an FYI, you can click on as many of these different subcategories and search at the same time. So if I were to click African American and Asian Pacific Islander, you can see there's both here and I can search, but that's going to be a pretty overwhelming search with over 30,000 titles. So I'm going to take those down for now. Going to go down to SEL, and let's just do a search for now for relationship skills. Come up to the top again, you can see there are 1,400 titles in relationship skills, and keep in mind those are titles all K through 12. So we're going to have to filter down our search to get just what we're looking for specifically. Again, you can see there are 1,400 titles, but on the left, you can see we can filter this down. We've got the best of Mackin. If you're not sure what that is, those are titles that our collection development team has put together based on starred reviews from School Library Journal, Booklist, Kirkus, and other highly reviewed sources. You can see new releases in the last 12 months, products, that's the different bindings and audiobooks and ebooks, interest levels, reading levels, classifications. What I'm going to do for now, just to narrow down this list, let's assume I'm in an elementary school and my principal has asked me for titles that are more for your 3rd through 5th graders. So I'm going to click go, and you can see that 1,400 titles have now been reduced in half to 710. Now that's still a pretty wieldy list to go through. So I think I'm going to use some of these filters to narrow it down a little bit more. So I'm only interested in hardcover books. Only interested with reading levels from 3 to 4.9. I do want fiction and nonfiction, but I'm going to avoid the easy. And let's see where that gets us. So now we've reduced the list to 55 items. So that might be a little too few for you to search for, but for our purposes here, let's stick with 55. So I'm going to scroll down the list. I'm going to select Roll With It, which is a title that I'm familiar with. You can see the basic information on the book up here. I'm not going to go through the basic stuff that you'll probably know, the summaries, the publisher description, product detail, full text reviews, but I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom where we have the tags section. And as you can see, we did search using social and emotional learning and relationship skills. But you can see this also fits under people with disabilities, under diversity, and social justice under literary themes. So this is obviously a clue to you that there are several titles that have more than one tag. Go back to my search results. So I've decided I want to go with roll with it. I'm adding that to my list. I just want to point out that I'm working with a list that already has 267 items in it. So I'm just adding to that list. I'll select Queen Bee and Me, Best Friends, and Something to Say. So I've done my searching, and for now I'm satisfied with that. I'm going to go to my list and view it. And what I can do now, prior to submitting this as an order or asking for a quote, is to go ahead and go to my list summary. So I'm up here at Manage, Summary. There are a lot of different categories that I can go into my summary, but for now I'm going to come all the way over to the right and just select tags. And as you can see, all 8 categories of our curriculum tags are here. It's telling you that this current list has 14 in the general category, and these are the 4 subcategories. Diversity has 61 titles in these subcategories, so on and so forth. So you can see we have quite a few titles that are have curriculum tags in this particular list. Now, I'm a numbers guy, so I prefer to look at it this way. For African, Black, and African American, I can see that the average date of publication is 2018. The net price for the 12 titles is $181.58. For those of you who are more visual oriented, we have the pie chart on the right, and it breaks down this information into a pie chart that might be more visually pleasing to some of you. If you're satisfied now with your list, come back up and hit your down arrow by your cart. Go ahead and request a quote, and you'll get a quote within 48 hours in order for you to go ahead and submit it for placing your order. So that's basically quickly how you do a search for curriculum tags and how you analyze your particular list. Lastly, I want to go into how you can analyze your existing collection and see the books you already own that have been tagged. So I'm going to go back into my account. Now, keep in mind the first thing you're going to do before we can do this for you, go down to collection analysis. You're going to have to send us your MARC records. So you're going to go to Destiny. You're going to download your MARC records, probably to your desktop or whatever's easiest for you. Then go into collection analysis, send records. And you can see there are a couple of different ways online, through email. There's more detail on how to do that. I don't have enough time to get into the details, but you get the idea. So you send us your MARC records, and then once we've completed your collection analysis and tag report, we'll send you an email letting you know that the report is ready. And the way you'll access that report is, again, by going to your My Account. You'll come down to Title Match Tag Report. And for the purposes here, I'm just going to go into my test list and click View. There's a specific definition as to what you're going to see in this report. I don't need to read it to you. You can take a look at it on your own time. But what you're going to see on your headings is your school name, your collection name, the date that this report was run for you, the collection total. Here you can see there's 12,088 books in this particular collection analysis.
Scott, we're not seeing the list, the collection analysis.
What are you seeing currently?
You're still seeing the list summary, and we're at the analyzed collection.
Okay. How about now?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So you can see again the tag report, the definition of what this report will tell, how it'll help you out. Your headings, your school name, collection name, date the report was run. Your collection total, which is 12,088, that's your entire collection. As you can see, the tag titles are only about 1/3 of the collection. So we're letting you know about 1/3 of your collection has titles that have already had tags assigned. Keep in mind that tags we're always going through our database and adding more tags to more titles. So this is just a snapshot for right now. Your average age of your tag collection is 2011. If I scroll down, you can see here's all the 8 categories. The average age for each of those 8, the number of books you have tagged in that category in your collection, and the total percentage of the collection it makes up. And again, the pie chart on the right-hand side. If I go into diversity, it breaks it down into subcategories. So you can see under all these subcategories, the specific age, number of fiction and nonfiction titles, other titles like reference and professional, your collection percentage. So I'm going to just stick with African American for right now and go to collection. You can see there's a total of 304 titles in this particular subcategory. And now you can see all the individual titles. I assume you can see those individual titles. So on the left, you'll see the Dewey category, then your specific title, your author, date of publication, and your barcode. So this will make it easy for you to identify these titles in your collection. If you have students or teachers who are asking for books in this category, it'll make it easy for you to pull that up. If you want to go ahead and export it to an Excel spreadsheet, you just come up to your Options tab in the upper left, click on Export to Excel, and that'll put it right in a spreadsheet for you. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go back to the tag overview. If you want to print your report, just go up to Options, and you can notice that there are different print options when you're in the tag report as opposed to those individual categories. You just click Print. If you want to select all the categories, you can go ahead and do that. If you just want to print, say, diversity and SEL, you can do that too. Click Print, and that'll give you a detailed report on either all those categories or just the ones you've selected. The last thing I wanted to point out, if you go back in, say, to diversity, you're in your African American, go back there. Let's say you have 304 titles in African American, but you really want to increase that portion of your collection. You can see the little magnifying glass all the way out on the right-hand side. You just click on that, and that will take you into that African American subcategory in your diversity list. And then again, as you can see, there are over 2,500 items. You can go back and start to filter just like we did before. And then you can start selecting titles, create a new list, and basically start from scratch. I know I went through this quickly and it's a lot of information. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or email me. I'd be more than happy to discuss this with you in greater detail. I would recommend running this report at a minimum once a year. As I'd mentioned, the tags change quite frequently. We're always adding titles and tags. So maybe twice a year, but once a year for sure. Do you have any questions?
So we had one question that came up, and does the tagging also work with our existing ebook collection? So can you narrow the ebook collection down with the tags?
Mesa, do you know the answer to that? I think it's just print, if I'm not mistaken.
So when you upload your records into Mackin.com, if you have a prefix saying ebook in your records, you can sort by that prefix in the tag report. So as long as you have some type of a identifier in your records that you have right now, then you can see the ebook. You can analyze the ebook collection too.
Okay. And the other question, which is what I can answer, is how do you know if it's a part of the shared collection or if it's just yours?
Right. And I can show you really quickly here. Show you my screen again. In the admin side, you can go under resources and I'll just hit ebooks. And down here, there's a provided by option. So mine obviously is this demo account. So we have a lot of weird accounts attached to this, but it will say Palm Beach County District, I think, and then it will also say your school. And then you can just click on it if you want to see just the ones that are yours versus the ones that are shared. Also, if you go into the full record of the book, there's a provided by, and this will either say district or your school.
Another way you'll know is if the elementary, if you see 108 copies, that was done by the district. I think it's 38 copies at the middle school level and 25 at the high school level. That way you'll know if that we provided it. Are there any other questions we can answer? I know we went through pretty quickly, but Mesa and Scott are available for questions and email.
It's the end of the day. I understand.
It's the end of the day, and it is the end of a really hard year.
Yes.
I know everyone's tired. So with that, I'm going to conclude. Please continue tagging us on social media. You guys have been doing amazing things this year. I love seeing everything you're doing. You have moved mountains. The district is taking notice. So please, please, please keep sharing. Follow-up is due by 5/28. So if you're interested in the points, please get the follow-up in by 5/28. And I agree, the class sets has been a wonderful function. It really increases our ability to be of help to our teachers. And this is our last Topical Tuesday of the year. We will see you next year for our Topical Tuesday sessions. Thank you for joining us all year and for today. And I hope to see you in real life very soon.